Okay, now for some real fun. We'll do some great fun things with text in Photoshop, and we'll start with the basics. So I'm going to open a new file. I'm not going to worry about getting a bigger resolution for these projects. This was the size of my screen, so that's a pretty good size one. And one of the first fun things that Photoshop will do when you're playing with text, if you click on your T and hold it, you can see that we can go different directions. T. Of course, you're going to see funny things here. All right, so you see I have a horizontal type. I have vertical type, so I can go across, I can go up and down. And I also have these dotted ones, which are masks, which are very, very cool. And so for this first one, I'm going to do a mask. So I'm going to give myself a texture. And if you remember how we did that, you come to your paint bucket. And instead of foreground, which that will be color, we'll go to pattern. And I don't know what I have available here. It's been a while since I played with pattern, so it'll be surprise me. I could do rocks. Eh. Let's see what else we've got. Nature patterns. That'll be rocks probably. Append. Yeah, more rocks. Um, nature artistic surfaces. Append. Got plaids. I've got textures. Let's go with this kind of a gauze, and I'll pour it out, but notice it's just plain black and white. So I'm going to go and adjust hue saturation and let's go adjust color balance first. And how about cyan and blue some? Okay, so I've got kind of a blue gauze. Now when I come to my dotted font, I can click. And in this case, with the pattern, it's better to decide what font you're going to do first before you do anything else. So I'm going to open this up. I want something pretty good sized. Doesn't have to be huge, but I think I'll do poplar. And here again is, doesn't matter if it's black or whatever, but 18 points is pretty small. So I'm going to come up and do 72 points, which will be a nice big one. And click. And then you see the size here. Not gigantic. Maybe we'll try 100. 100. So it got a little bit bigger. And since this is fabric or plaid or texture, I'm just going to do texture. So in this case, we're going to cut them out when it's done, and it'll show you. So I get to type the whole word T. Let's make them capitals. TEXTURE. And there it is. And you click here. And now you see that I've got this all highlighted. So to continue, I'm going to go edit and copy and file, new, and let's make it about twice as big as it's showing me. So in inches, that is 4 by 1. Let's go 7 by 3. 33.3. Of course, I could use a color and a fill and do something normally and do a normal, but we'll play with this and see how many cool things we can do with this right quick. And paste. All right. So you can see that I can take these apart and do one letter at a time, and that's really pretty simple to do. That I am just going to draw a box around my letter T. And let's duplicate this just in case something happens and it disappears. So it's always a good idea to duplicate your layer, excuse me. So I've got layer 1 copy, and I'm just going to cut the T so I can remember where I am. I'll have to turn off the background one. Now I have extra instead of texture. And paste. If I paste special in place, it'll put the T right on top so I can keep track of it pretty well. There's the T. I can do all kinds of fun things with it now. And I'm going to turn it off and go back to my extra and do the next one. Now on extra, I'll do a box. See how quickly I can do this. Draw a box around the E. Cut. Paste in place. Paste special in place. Go back to layer 1. Turn off the E. Draw a box. I have this one highlighted. Cut. Paste in place. Turn off that layer. Go back to layer 1. Draw a box. I am on the right layer. So cut. Paste in place. Turn it off. Draw a box. I'm on the wrong layer. It's saying layer 5 now. Layer 1. Cut. Paste in place. Turn it off. Come back down. Layer 1. Draw a box. Cut. Paste in place. Turn it off. So that I can work with this layer by itself, I'm going to do the same thing. Layer 1 copy. Draw a box. Cut. Paste in place. All right. So each one of these, I could take this and animate it now. I can change the colors. I can put shadows behind them. I can make them transparent on a background. I can do tons of different things. So the main thing is that we have each letter, and they're all on their own layer. And 1. All right. So very easily, and I'm going to turn off that layer. Layer 1. I can grab my mouse and move that. That's the one I don't want to turn off. Means I have one more out there. Layer 1 copy. Maybe I didn't paste in place. Edit. Paste in place. That's what I didn't do. All right, now they're all up there. This is the last one, and I can move it to wherever I want it to be. Layer 2. T. Move it wherever I want it to be. Layer 7. Layer 6. Layer 5. Layer 4. And layer 3. All right. Let's put a drop shadow, which is something we haven't done, behind each one of these letters, and that'll give it a more three-dimensional look. So if you come and double click on the background and come up to blending options, you can see a number of things that you could do. You could try bevel and emboss. That looks very cool, don't you think? Or you could add a texture to it. I'm not so crazy about that. Stroke makes a line all the way around the outside. Same thing. Inner stroke, maybe. Inner glow. That would show if I had a background, but I don't yet. Satin, that applies a sheen to it. Cover overlay, I can put a color on top of it. Gradient overlay, I can put a gradient on top of it. Pattern, I can change the pattern. Outer glow, drop shadow. And so that went even further. If I then click on drop shadow, I can play with distance and direction a little bit. If that looks too dark, I can change the opacity. If I don't want it to be gray, I can change the color. Just a second. So it's very lighter. I can come up here and say I want my shadow to be blue since it's kind of blue, and click OK. And now I'll have a blue dropped. Whoops, I didn't get it. Blue. Okay. Now I have a blue drop shadow. Isn't that cool? So I would apply that to each one of those so that I can have different things happen. I'll do it one more time. I click on the T and find a layer. Don't know which one it is. Eyeball it. This T will work. All right. So I'm going to double click it. I beveled it and embossed. Remember all the other things. There's the T. And I went to drop shadow, which is the last one, and clicked it and clicked on it. And then I changed the distance. You also can change the spread and the size. Distance was here, which will make them bigger, smaller, spread out. Ooh, that looks similar. Double click that, come and get a blue. Click here, click here. And if I was really doing this seriously, I'd remember all of these and make them exactly the same. And then this was lighter, so I'm just going to eyeball it. So now I have a blue background. All right, when you're done, you can come to your bottom layer and put a texture, a pattern, or something like that to it. And don't forget to save it as a JPEG so that you can upload it. Where is it? Don't I have it? Do not see the. I thought I did the hide. Oh, here it is. Nope. Shoot. I didn't get it. It is. Stop.